This is not a hate video. This is not a support video. I'm not calling anyone out. I'm not criticizing anyone. But I am addressing this mental iron curtain which has been erected between some members of the Zeitgeist movement and many people who don't and many people who don't agree with the Zeitgeist movement. Now, I'll be one at a time talking to both sides of the wall, starting with the Zeitgeist movement side and the way you deal with people who don't agree. There's been many of the pro Zeitgeist commenters I've seen, they address almost everyone who doesn't agree with the label of a troll. Now I don't agree because there are people who have questions. There are people who seek answers, and really the way I see it is that there are three faces to those who don't agree. Those with questions, those seeking answers to quell the claws scratching at the corners of their minds. Then there are skeptics who have pretty much drawn their own conclusion, who pretty much jump to their own conclusions, but would still ask questions and still be open to talk about this, to get their facts straight. And then the third face are the trolls, those who are just there to scream, right? Those who are just there to scream, to yell death to the New World Order, Zeitgeist Movement is communism, New World Order, without anything, without anything to it. So three faces treat the first two as if they're asking questions and not accusing the movement of anything. Now, to the other side of the wall, the libertarian side, if you're not sure about something, about an aspect of the Zeitgeist movement or the Venus Project, don't assume things. Don't try to draw your own conclusions. Don't assume that it's communist. Don't assume that it's New World Order. That just because two things have a few parts in common, that doesn't make them both the same thing. Like there are a few videos saying that the Venus Project or the Zeitgeist movement would use coercion to get people to do what they want. But then right then and there you can tell that the people who made those videos haven't really looked into the Zeitgeist movements or the Venus Project's position on coercion. That I saw a video where Jacques Fresco talked about coercion, saying it doesn't work. It only works in the very short term. That in the long term it breeds dissent and anger. You shouldn't ban anything because that would make people angry, and the practice and people would just continue the practices in secret or concealment, or it would go underground. So don't ban anything, don't make people do anything, and if you don't want to adopt a resource-based economy, if you don't want to live in circular cities, and if you don't want computers managing the resources, who said you had to? Who said you would be forced to do it? No one. That's just assuming things. Assume nothing without definitive knowledge on the subject. then the assumption that it would be a dictatorship. Who would be the dictator? Fresco? He's like 95 years old. He doesn't have much longer to go. And he said it himself, if you put me in charge, I'll last about a week. Then Peter Joseph and Roxanne, they can't become dictator because say after adopting a resource based economy, all the police are gone, all the military is gone, all the paramilitary forces and police forces, all of that is gone. So how could they even enforce any form of rule if they have no one to carry out whatever legislation? That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Don't assume it's a dictatorship. Don't assume it's bad. Don't assume it's this. Don't assume it's that. I mean, watch some of the videos. Go to a frequently asked questions page. Go to a forum to see what the members are actually talking about, and not just sit and come up with what you want to believe about the movement.